Hey guys, it's Mr. Kruger just working on Geometry Trail Marker 3. Remember, these are the 10 skills you're going to have to use the entire quarter. So let's work through all these problems first. Here we go. Question 1. It says this is parallel, and remember parallel means same slope. So we need to figure out the slope of this original line right here, and then we can put in this new point 9, 11. So the first thing I need to do is I need to take this point, or this line right here, 2x plus 6y, and solve for y. So I'm going to subtract 2x from both sides. So that's a negative 2x. Then I'm going to divide by 6 so I can get y by itself. So I get y equals negative 1/3 x plus 11/6. Remember, nothing matters besides that slope. Okay, so if you take a look right here, this is our slope right here, negative 1/3, and that's what I'm going to use in my new equation. Okay, so if I blow this up a little bit so I can see a little bit more, you'll see that I have my equation with a slope of negative 1/3. I'm going to plug in this point 9, 11. 11 is the y value, 9 is the x, and my slope is 1/3, and then plus b, and now I need to solve for b. So if we multiply, I get 11 equals 9 times negative 1/3, so 1/3 of 9 is 3, and it's a negative, so we get right here, plus b, and then I'm going to add 3 to both sides, and I get 14 equals b. So the equation has a slope of negative 1/3 and a y-intercept of 14. So y equals negative 1/3 x plus 14. Okay, question 2. Graphing this line, I need it in slope-intercept form. So I need to get the y by itself. So the first thing I'm going to do is add 2x to both sides. Okay, so I get negative 3y equals positive 2x plus 6. Still need y by itself, divide by negative 3. What I do to one side, I have to do to the other. So I get right here, a positive 2 divided by negative 3 is negative 2/3 x, and 6 divided by negative 3 is a negative 2. So I'm going to start with my y-intercept. Let me zoom in a little bit so I can see it a little better. Start with my y-intercept at negative 2. Then I'm going to follow the slope up 2 to the left 1, 2, 3. Up 2 to the left 1, 2, 3. And I know it's on a tablet here, so let's see if that's pretty bad, but you can get the gist. Connect your points, and we got it. Question 3. This is just from the last quiz right here. We have to know how to do proportions. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to label my picture. I'm going to label 10 as AB, AC is 15. I also have DE is 9, and then we're trying to find EF, but it gives us its proportion up here that AB over AC, so small over the whole thing, is equal to DE over DF, which is the small part over the whole thing. So let's look, I'm going to use this to solve right here. So we got 10 over 15, using what's given to us, equals 9 over x. So if we cross multiply, I get 10x, and if we cross multiply here, 9 times 10 is 90, and 9 times 5 is 45. So I add 90 and 45, I get 135. And now I just need to divide by 10. If I divide by 10, I get 13.5. So this whole thing x is 13.5. And if the whole thing is 13.5, subtract 9, which gives me this other piece right here, which is 4.5. Okay, here we go. Moving on to question number 4. Another proportion. This deals with the shadow and the height. Okay, so we have a height of 6 feet, casts a shadow of 18 feet. So we have a height 6, if you want to put an H and an S, and a nearby tree is a height of 21, and we're trying to find the shadow. So it's got to be height over shadow equals height over shadow. So I'm going to set up my proportion. 6 over 18 equals height again, which is 21 over x. So now I'm going to cross multiply. If I cross multiply, I get 6x equals 21 times 18 gives me 378. And now I divide both sides by 6, and x equals 63. So that means the tree's shadow has to be 63 feet tall, or feet long. Okay, so now we have our next one. 3 cheeseburgers and 2 drinks cost $7.10. 2 cheeseburgers and 5 drinks cost $10.60. Find the cost of each cheeseburger and each drink. Okay, some of you guys are noticing a system of equations right here, so I'm going to spread out so I can actually get some room to work. So we have one equation in the top sentence and one in the bottom, so let's set this up. 3 cheeseburgers, so let's call that 3x, plus 2 drinks, 2y, equals $7.10. And we have 2 cheeseburgers, so 2x, plus 5 drinks, so 5y, equals 1060. And now I need to solve for x, but if you notice, none of the x's or y's line up. Instead, they're not opposites of each other. So in this case, I'm actually going to have to multiply one of these out. So if I multiply them out, I need them to be opposites of each other. So let's try this one. I'm going to multiply this top equation by -2 and the bottom equation by 3. If I do that, let's see what happens. This top equation, I need to distribute the -2. So I get -6x minus 4y equals a -14.20. And if I distribute a 3 to the bottom equation, I get positive 6x plus 15y equals $30, and 60 is 180, so 3180. Okay, so now we have our two equations. If you notice, the x values are going to cancel each other out. Okay, so if I continue this adding down, I get a positive 11y, and 3180 minus 14. And if I add down there, I get $17.60. Divide by 11, divide by 11, and I get y equals $1.60. Okay, so now I have y equals $1.60, which we know stands for drinks. Now I need to take that and solve for x. So I have 2x, I'm just going to use the bottom equation, plus 5 times 160 equals 1060. And I'm going to solve for x. So, move all this over, get a little space over here. I get 2x plus 5 times 1 is $5, 5 times 6 is $3, so 5 plus $8 equals 1060. And subtract 8 from both sides, I get $2.60. Divide by 2, I get $1.30. So I have cheeseburgers that are $1.30 and drinks that are $1.60. Here we go. Next question, area. Remember, area is 1/2 base times height. So we're actually given both those pieces of information. So I have 1/2, I have my base, which is 14, and I have my height, which is 6. Now let's multiply those together. Well, I could do half of 14 is 7, and multiply that by 6. So area is going to equal 42 meters squared. Okay, the next one. Are these two triangles similar? Well, we have our three methods. Angle, angle, don't see any angles. Side, angle, side, don't see any angles still. All three sides I do have. So let me move this over here so I can get some space here, and I'm going to start setting up some proportions. So I'm going to start with my smallest over my small, medium over medium, and largest over large in terms of side lengths. Simplify all those fractions. Well, 2 goes into both 4 and 6, so I get 2/3. 3 goes into both 6 and 9, so I get 2/3. 4 goes into both 8 and 12, and I get 2/3. So because they are proportional, all three sides are proportional. I know the side lengths must be proportional right there. Next one, supplementary. Supplementary, remember there's two parts, complementary, supplementary. Supplementary means 180. Okay, so I need to add them up and equal to 180. So 120 plus 3x plus 3 equals 180 degrees. Okay, combine like terms. Well, I have 123 plus 3x equals 180. Let's subtract 123 from both sides. So I get 180 minus 120 is 60, minus 3 more is 57. And divide by 3. X equals, well, 3 times 20 is 60. Then take away one more 3. It's got to be 19. So x equals 19. Here we go. 2 more questions. Solve x squared plus 3x minus 4. What I want you to start thinking about is quadratics, x squared. So, one way to solve a quadratic is either quadratic formula or by factoring. In this case, factoring is going to be a little easier. So we take our c, which is -4, and we take our b, which is 3, and we need to find two numbers that add to 3 and multiply to -4. So if you think about that, two numbers that multiply to -4 are going to be -4 and +1, but that adds to a -3. So make it a +4 and -1. So that adds to +3. So I get x plus 4, x minus 1, and now I'm going to set them both equal to 0. And what I can do here is I can actually solve by setting each one using the zero product property equal to 0. So let me get some space over here. X plus 4 equals 0, x minus 1 equals 0, and as subtract 4, I get x equals -4, plus 1, x equals 1. So my two solutions are -4 and +1. Here we go, last question, find the missing side length. Here we go, you need a right angle right here. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. Pythagorean theorem over and over and over again. A skill, a tool you guys really need to use. Here we go. I know that 20's got to be the hypotenuse because it's across from the right angle. So that's my c, and I know that 12 can be either one of the legs. So let's put 12 in for a. We don't know b, but we do know the last leg is c. or sorry, the hypotenuse is c. 12 squared is 144. We still don't know b squared. 20 squared is 400. So let's subtract 144 from both sides. 400 minus 100 is 300. Minus 44 is 56. So we got 256. And then we square root both sides. B equals, you always get those plus or minus 2 solutions. It's a perfect square, so it's going to be 16 here. But it represents a side length. Okay, so it cannot be the negative, so it's got to be 16. Okay, so what I want you guys to do is take a look here. Look at all this work. All this work we just did. Okay, I know it's a lot, but I promise you guys can do this. These are the 10 skills you got to know for this trail marker. Take a look at it, soak it in, listen to this over and over again if you need to, and let's learn this trail marker. Okay, we got a lot of important things. We got a lot of skills over and over again. Pythagorean theorem over here. We got proportions over here. Proportions over here. Similarity, this is our last unit. Area formula, you guys can all do this stuff. Okay, supplementary, going back to the first chapter. And we got systems equations. I know this is going to be tough a little bit, but I promise you guys can do this. Graphing a line, this is a skill you're going to use over and over again in Algebra 2. Writing the equation of a line, y equals mx plus b. I know it's a tough one because it's got a few steps here, but I promise you guys can do this. Good luck.